everybody, welcome back to Crafting and Crime Daily. I know I'm being silly because it's Monday and it's still the weekend. Happy Labor Day. Got my gnomes on. Um, got my coffee with another gnome. I like gnomes. I should have figured that out. Anyway, today we're going to talk about the Rita Pangalangan and Larry Miller Jr. verdict that came down Friday. First of all, let me apologize. I said I was going to bring it to you live. I was resting my back, putting some heat on it, and playing a game. I'm not gonna lie, I was playing a game and it got by me. Still got the aches and pains from the car accident, and still trying to figure out how the heck am I gonna live without a car for until I find one. But I will soldier on. So I'm going to bring you the verdict today. Before we even get into it, I'm going to show you the verdict. Here's the verdict. Rita Pangalangan, Larry Miller Jr., Judge Clifton Newman out of South Carolina. He's the one that presided over the Alex Murdaugh trial. Here it is.
I understand there's a verdict. You may bring the jury. Madam Forelady, if you'll stand for me. Have you reached the verdict?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it unanimous?
Yes, it is.
Okay, if you'll pass it to the clerk, you'll pass it to me, and you may be seated. Okay, if the defendants will rise, and Madam Clerk, if you will publish the verdicts.
State of South Carolina versus Rita M. Pangalangan. Indictments number 2019 GS 15-00781, 2022 GS 15-00710, 2022 GS 15-00814. We, the jury, in the above caption, on the charge of murder of Christina Ann Pangalangan, find the defendant guilty.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
We, the jury, in the above captioned case, on the charge of great bodily injury of a child, we find the defendant guilty.
Oh my God!
We, the jury, in the above captioned case, on the charge of criminal conspiracy, find the defendant not guilty. And it's signed by the foreperson.
Yes.
Signed by the
No, you don't need to call the name of the foreperson. Signed by the foreperson. Do
Signed
not.
by the foreperson.
Yes.
State of South Carolina versus Larry Eugene King. Indictments 2019 GS 15-00780, 2022 GS 15-00709, and 2022 GS 15-00813. We, the jury, in the above captioned case on the charge of murder of Christina Ann Pangalangan, find the defendant guilty. We, the jury, in the above captioned case on the charge of great bodily injury on a child, find the defendant guilty. We, the jury, in the above captioned case on the charge of criminal conspiracy, find the defendant not guilty. This is also signed by the foreperson.
It's like she didn't expect. Did she expect it was going to be not guilty? Seriously? After what you did? Her, so it's just crazy. Just crazy. So Judge Newman does his sentencing right away. he doesn't play around. With Alex Murdaugh, he did it the next morning because it was nighttime when they brought their verdict back, like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. And so the next morning he did the sentencing, but the sentencing here occurred right then. He gave he gave everybody a chance to speak under Marcy's law. Anybody that wanted to speak on behalf of the victim or the defendants, and there were a few that nobody wanted to speak on behalf of this sweet little child, Christina. She would have started school. Man, it's just a shame. So Rita's daughter spoke on her behalf. Her daughter's husband spoke on her behalf. The lawyer gave the judge a whole folder full of letters from friends and relatives about what a great person she was, and coworkers, and you know she had a great reputation in the community, which he pointed out she blew off for the sake of methamphetamine, for the sake of drugs. Then this guy got up and said he was her husband. Husband? Wait a minute. When did you get married? So it turns out she's been out on bail. She only served 39 days in jail. She's been out on bail for this entire time waiting for this trial. So apparently she found another guy and got married. How do these people meet these guys so easily? Like, is there a catalog or something? No, I'm not going to do online dating. I've done it. Been there, done that. No. If that's how she met him, okay, no. Oh, put the glasses back on. Wow. Sorry. Okay. Um, so apparently she's married. And he starts to talk about what a great person she is, and the judge is not having it. He's like, no, sit down, sit down. No. I'm like, husband? What? Okay. But they were all asking for the judge to be lenient. And he's like, you do understand that there's a minimum of 30 years she's going to serve. Like, we're not talking about house arrest here, people. Like, I think they thought he was going to slap an ankle monitor on her and let her be on her way. No, he did not. So so she talked. Her lawyers, this was so annoying. The lawyer is so big that he was blocking my view of the defendant. Like, if he had just sat down and let the defendant stand up, but no, he had put his arm around her, and but I couldn't see her because he's a little wide. I mean, so am I. I'm not being critical of his weight. I'm just saying I can't see through you. Your dad wasn't a glass maker. So she was talking to the judge. She said that she loved her daughter more than anybody in the world, and that she was working 4 jobs to get her everything she needed. She just got her fitted for a new wheelchair. She was at everything she needed to get ready for school. And she said, even Larry loved her. He loved her. We didn't know, she said, we put ourselves in front of her, and I lost track of time, and I should have just did what he told me and got in that car and took Christina home, and then we wouldn't be here. I should have made better choices. I should have just got in that car and took my baby home. Tears. Please have mercy on us. Okay. So the judge said that this was not a traditional murder in the sense of like there's a gun or a knife or, he said but the conduct, you and Larry's conduct was so extremely reckless that it constitutes murder. That you placed a child essentially in a burning car and then left her. That's murder. You just walked away, and you had an absolute total disregard for this child. That you were around that car any number of times, as we can see on the video, and that contributed to her death. You even got in Larry's car and left her in the car. Like, who does that? Even if you thought she was okay, you left her in the car and you guys drove away for almost an hour. He says, but for meth, the two of you wouldn't be here. But you're here. So she she tries to tell him that, oh, I'm not an addict. I don't do drugs. I've never done drugs. This was the first time. He's like, oh, okay. And then when she said that, then the other defense attorney pipes up. Larry King Jr.'s defense attorney, he pipes up and the judge says, oh, let me guess, it's his first time too? I thought that was pretty funny. Yep, first time. No, his judge wanted to point out that his defendant, that he's taken responsibility. He admitted to being an addict, and he's taking responsibility for his actions. And the judge said, okay. So he sentenced them. And I'll let you listen to the sentencing.
All right, Mr. King, if you'll come around for sentencing. Mr. King, is sentenced to the court on the offense of murder that you be committed to the State Department of Corrections for a period of 32 years. Great bodily injury, the sentence is 20 years. Sentences will run concurrent with credit for any time that you've already served.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Thank you all. Ms. Pangalangan, a lot of folks have said a lot of good things about you and a lot of positive impacts that you've made on their lives. You're not being sentenced to death. You won't be facing a firing squad or a gas chamber or electric chair. Your life goes on, but it'll go on behind bars, and you'll still have that same opportunity to make a positive impact on the lives of other people who you encounter, and I hope you do that. I simply cannot fathom a mother treating a child the way that you did and allowing that to happen to a child, to your child, the child that you birthed. Yeah. I don't know if the child at some point became a burden. I don't know what the circumstances were that would lead you to placing the child in that situation. And as if you left and went to Atlanta, Georgia, or maybe we'll say not Charleston, to Myrtle Beach, and went there and got in the beach in the water a few hours, and then came back, and then decided that it's a frantic situation. You did it. You have to live with it. And as bad as the conduct of Mr. King was, yours was worse, in my mind. And, you can talk about intent where you have rational thinking minds, but extreme recklessness brought upon by drugs and alcohol. As we said, intoxication is not a defense and not an excuse. That's what, in effect, you're asking, and it's not. Sentence of the court is that you be committed to the State Department of Correction for a period of 37 years on murder, 20 years on great bodily injury. Sentences will run concurrent and you'll receive credit for time served. Do we have the number of days of credit that they're entitled to?
39.
Receive credit for 39 days. And Mr. King, do we know how many days he gets credit for? Did Mr. Other guy left, Mr. The lawyers? Does anyone know? I'll just have that calculated by the Department of Corrections. Yes, sir.
So the sentencing happens. Larry King Jr. gets 32 years for the murder. Then the bodily injury is another 20 years. But the judge said it would run concurrent. So they're running at the same time. So it's 32 years. Now, and then they were found not guilty of the conspiracy. The jury just couldn't. I didn't see that there was a conspiracy either. I mean, there was a conspiracy to do meth, but not, anyway. I don't know why that charge was thrown in there, but he also sentences Rita to 37 years plus 20 for the bodily injury to run concurrent. So that they're running together. She got credit for 39 days served. I don't know if he was in jail or not. By the time the judge asked his lawyers if, what he should give him credit for, he had already left the courtroom. They had already taken him out of the courtroom. So I don't know if he was out on bail, or I suspect he probably was. I don't think the bail was set very high. These people are pretty entrenched in that small community. They weren't fleeing anywhere. Yeah. So they're off to prison for the remainder of their life. I mean, she is in her 50s. I think she said she was 55, somewhere in her 50s. So she will be, if she lives, it's basically a life sentence. She'd be 87. Yeah. And I believe in South Carolina, just based on the Gerard Price thing, that you have to serve the 30 years. You have to serve the minimum. So they're there for at least 30 of the 37 and 32 years. That was the whole big thing with the Price, when they let Price out of jail and they had to find him and bring him back because he was supposed to be serving a 30-year sentence and somebody let him out when they shouldn't have. Luckily, he's back in jail. So in any case, yep, that's what happened. Thank you for watching, and I will have a true crime story for you tomorrow, and hopefully a preview of the next trial coming up this week. If they even, Labor Day, it's a slow week. It's hard to get jurors the day after a holiday, and I don't know if we'll see if there's a new trial. If not, you're going to get true crime all week. Yes, you can't get rid of me that easily. So don't forget to hit that like button. Consider making a donation to the channel through becoming a member or a Patreon, or you can make a one-time donation through your super thanks button. You just have to take your finger, scroll it, roll it over like you're swiping on a good-looking guy, and there's a super thanks button. Yep, it goes to I can't talk. I didn't show you what I was working on. Let me. It goes to support content of the channel. More yarn. I'm working on. I'm crocheting. working on a gnome and his beard. This one's got a big purple beard. This is his hat. I'm doing the Halloween gnome because I want to do a couple of Halloween gnomes, and then I'm going to do a whole bunch for Thanksgiving and Christmas and my birthday in December. There's a birthday gnome I'm going to do. So more to come on that. And then I'm going to put it all together for a big Afghan. I've got a whole basket full of squares over there that I need to start putting together. I can't wait to spread it out on my bed and see what it looks like in totality. And then next year, I'm going to do a year long, it's going to be a craft kit, but it's going to be one piece. It's going to be florals and stuff. So, yeah, more mature. I know. All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.